If you're an old school DJ returning to DJing using controllers, but you came from this world here, turntables, mixers, or maybe CDJs, then this series is for you. In the videos here, I've got everything from, well, the sync button through music, gear, mixing, which we're looking at today, and then moving on to performing and where to take this new hobby in a digital age. If you've always wanted to do this as an old school DJ who remembers DJing on vinyl or CDs, or maybe you just haven't switched yet and you want some tips, this is for you. Right, so I've got a record deck set up here with a record on it. Why? Because I'm going to show you all the things that comprise putting a track on, speeding it up, slowing it down, doing a bit of scratching on a turntable, and then show you how to do exactly the same things on a modern DJ controller. So you're not intimidated. I'm going to empower you to use a modern DJ controller the way we use turntables. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Right, so let's start off by getting a track loaded or onto the deck. Now, this is my playlist or record crate. Notice it's not my whole music collection. I couldn't bring my whole music collection with me. That's a wall of records, right? So we've already started from a position where we've got the tracks we think we're going to want to play in front of us. I'm going to rifle through those tracks. I'm going to pull one out and I'm going to pop it onto the deck. So there we go. Now this isn't actually loaded yet because I haven't got a needle on it. Now it is loaded. Now if I press play, we'll hear it. Now I need to line it up to the beginning of the track. I would normally do this in headphones, of course, but I'm doing this through the mixer so you can hear it. Because at the moment it's at the beginning of the file, but it is not ready at the beginning of where the music starts. I'm going to take the top of the platter and move the record around. Notice that it's not playing, but I'm going to move the record around until I get to that first beat. There it is. So I can take my hand off there knowing that that is now lined up right at the very beginning. Now in order to play this track now, I could just hit the play button, but it might slur in because it takes a little while for the deck to get up to speed. So as you will know if you've done this yourself, the way we tend to do this is by holding the vinyl and hitting play. Because there's a slip mat under there which offers very little resistance to the vinyl, and that means that the record deck is now turning at the right speed. So all I've got to do is at the right time release the record. So if I was counting in over another record on the other deck, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're off and playing. Now the underneath is spinning and the record is spinning as well. This track is in the mix, we're good to go. Now often you're going to want to slow down and speed tracks up. So the permanent way of doing that is using the pitch control here. But the temporary way of doing that is by nudging the track. So you can nudge the track in a couple of ways, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to do it by using the edge of the turntable, not by touching the actual record, but by using the edge of the turntable. So if I want to slow it down temporarily, in order to get it in time with another track or whatever, that's how I would do it. And of course, if I want to speed it up temporarily, I would do that. So now it's at the same speed, but it's now a little bit ahead of where it was or behind where it was. Now, what if I want to play from another part of the track or cue up another part of the track? Well, I lift the needle up and go find the part I want. Now I can look at the waveform because, yes, the waveform, because the actual vinyl goes smooth where there is a quieter part and is rougher where there is a louder part. So you can look for breakdowns and drops and so on just by looking at the vinyl, which is exactly what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get down here and find the part I think I want. It's somewhere around there. There it was, the beginning of that vocal where it goes quiet. And now I'm ready and queued up at that point there. And I do exactly the same thing if I want to play from there. So there's a temporary cue further on in the track. And so I'm going to hold the track. I'm going to press the start stop button. This time I'm going to just scratch it in. A couple of little baby scratches and then drop it in. What I really need is somebody who will always be there. So we just took a track out of our playlist, loaded it onto the deck, queued it up, and then we nudged it, and then we scratched it, and we moved around through a couple of cue points, all done on a turntable. Now let's move over and look at exactly the same thing on a modern DJ controller. So I've got a DJ controller here, just a basic controller. We talked about this exact model, the DDJ Flex 4 it's called. Doesn't cost you very much. And I've got the software running over here on the laptop. That's what the software looks like. Don't be scared of it. It's very simple, as you're about to find out. Here, I've got my music. Now, on the left-hand side here, I can select all tracks. This is all 373 tracks I have in this collection. Far too many to be taken to play from in a gig. So here I've got a record crate. I've called it record crate just to remind us of what we were looking at when we were playing on vinyl in the earliest segment of this video. I've only got 22 tracks in here. This is a collection popped into a place where I can not only play from them without having stuff I don't want to play, cluttering things up, but I can also reorder them and get this exactly how I want it, just like I would order the songs in a record crate. Always play out of a crate or a playlist on DJ software. Don't play out of the main collection. That's how you kind of copy the idea of having a crate to play from. So that's the music then. We need to get it onto the decks. Now, the decks are, of course, here in front of me, but I can dial up the software here as well to show me the software version of the decks, because this controller is controlling the decks that you see above. Now I've already got Show Me Love loaded onto that left hand deck, and this is the same as putting the record onto the turntable. How do I load it? I can do it in a couple of ways. One way is to turn this knob at the top of the controller, and if I do that and go back to the software, you can see that this is allowing me to select on the far left hand side between any playlists I've got there. I can click on it, which will take me, I just clicked on it off camera there. I clicked on it, which took me onto the actual tracks themselves. And I'm now just turning it here to move through those tracks, which you can see when I show you all the software. I get to the one I want, Show Me Love there, and I click the load button on the deck I want. Bam, it loads it. Or in this case, it reloaded it onto that deck. So now I've got the track loaded. This is the same as putting the record onto the turntable. Now, the track's loaded and ready to go. How do we do that thing where I got the right part of the track, found the beginning beat and threw the track in? Well, again, you can copy exactly what you do on a turntable here. So I'm going to, you can see on the waveform in the middle, when I move the turntable, by touching the top, I get the vinyl feel, just in the same way as we did on the turntable. You can see we're actually there. We're not quite on the first beat. The first beat is there. So if I wanted, I could just hold the track there and throw it in just in the same way I did on the vinyl. I just have to press play. Now, when I press play, nothing changes. It lights up to tell me I'm playing it, but that's it. Why? Well, this isn't going to spin round because there's no need. So when I throw this in, 1, 2, 3, 4, the track starts playing, but there's nothing going around here. And that's very normal because controllers don't need to have a spinning platter in order for the track to play. There's no reason for it. And ever since the days of CDJs, of CD players, that's been the case. But if you come from records, you might think, well, why is it not spinning around? You can get gear where it does spin around, but it's completely unnecessary and most gear doesn't have it set up like that. All right, so that's the first thing to get your head around. It's not going to spin around. But this top section is still like the vinyl. Let me show you what I mean. If I hold that and scratch, it's going to work just like the vinyl did when I showed you the record deck. The edge is still going to slow down the track and speed it up, just like I showed you on the record deck. This tempo control will still permanently slow the track down and speed it up, just like I showed you on the record deck. Now, I picked the needle up and moved through the track on the record deck, didn't I? How can I do that here where I haven't got a needle? There's always a way, and usually it involves some kind of function with the jog wheel and a shift button or a modify button. There's a shift button here. If I hold this down, watch the waveform at the very top of the screen. You can see already the bit that we've played is grayed out. But if I hold down shift and turn this, watch what happens. That waveform at the top is a little bit like looking across the surface of the record. Now I'm near the part now where I mixed in last time, where I had a new place to start. It was there. On the record, I got to that vocal. So here, I can literally hold it there as I'm doing now and just drop it in if that's the place that I want to start the track playing from. But on CDJs, if you've come from a CD background, this is no surprise. But if you've come from a record deck background, we can actually set a point there, a temporary point there, by pressing this second button. Record decks only have the play pause, but CDJs and controllers have a second button called Q. If I press Q, it puts a point there. You see that little arrow that's been put there? That's now a temporary point at that point in the track. It's only temporary because if I do what I just did there anywhere else on the track, it will move it to there instead. But now I can hit play and it's going to play from that point just by pressing the play button. I don't need to do this throwing in bit because it'll start instantly. So I can just press play. And if I press that Q button while the track's playing, it'll just take me back there so I can do it next time. There we go. We're back at that point. And I've just explained to you everything about what we did on the vinyl on jog wheels. It's that simple. So you now know how easy it is to do just the basics. And a lot of DJs never move past what I just showed you. And that's absolutely fine using modern gear. You don't have to. This gear, remember, is designed to copy what happened on turntables and CDJs back in the day. But there's some features on here that are just so cool, so easy to use and so good that you really shouldn't be scared of them. You should be excited by them. Let's just talk through 2 or 3. I'll try and make this really fast just to get you excited. So the first one is nothing to do with the music, nothing to do with what you hear. It's just how easy this stuff is. We've already talked in the first of our lessons about the sync button and how that changes everything, but just sticking to one track. This waveform across the top we've already seen. You can see it's grayed out to the left, showing us we've already played that bit. This is a bit that's still to come. We can see how far we are through the track. And again, we can see that the roughness or the smoothness is showing us the loud and quiet parts of the song. Much easier than getting down, as I was doing, to look across the surface of the record to see where we're at in the track. But also, we've got this big waveform here that shows us in minute detail where we are on the track, which makes it very easy. We've also got the 3 colors that show us the different frequencies. You get very used to keeping an eye on the waveforms. They just become part of the way you work. And of course, we've got the BPM here as well. Now, talking of the BPM helps us to do something that's really cool. It started on early CDs, but then it became more like I'm going to demonstrate it to you now, which is looping. So the beauty about looping on systems like this is that it does it to the beat or to the fraction or multiple of a beat. So for instance, just by tapping that button there, it gives me a 4-beat loop, which would sound like this. Notice how the loop is really clean. It's cleaning, it's going back to the beginning very, very nicely with the drums just sounding completely normal. And that's because these systems know where the beats are. That's why we analyze our music at the beginning, as I was talking to you about in the last video. It gets easier to do stuff which is really quite impressive. You will have heard DJs doing this trick, and I know you will because it's so common. I'm going to perform this trick just by halving and halving again the loop that we're listening to and then exiting it. That's the halve button, that's the exit button. 2 little buttons. Have a listen to this. Now, don't tell me that that is beyond you, right? And it sounds great. Now, if that wasn't impressive, let's look at something else which is equally useful in your DJing and can be used for great effect. And that is hot cues. So let's go back to the cue point that we set at the beginning of that vocal by just tapping the cue button, remember? There it is. Now, that's not permanent because if I unload that track and load it again, that will be gone. But also, if I move it to another place, so let's say I just wanted to put that somewhere else on the track, maybe at the beginning. Let's go to the beginning of the track. So I wanted to put it right there. Well, it's there now. That's great, but it's now no longer at that point at the vocal nearer the end of the track where I had it. So this is only one cue point that can be set temporarily. These hot cues, which is the main use of these pads, are permanent. Not only do you have 8 of them to use, but they will load every time you load the track. So for instance, if I want one at the beginning there, bam, there we go, there's a hot cue at the beginning. If I want one at that vocal that came in a little bit later on, again, I'm going to hold down Shift, skip through the track to get to somewhere near it. I know it's around here somewhere. Let's find it again. There it is. I can tap that hot cue. So now I have one at the beginning and one further on and beginning. And I've got 6 more, and they're only there as long as I want them. I can hold down shift and tap them and they will disappear, and again they will load when I reload the track. Absolute game changer, because you can set all your favorite parts of all your songs and they'll always be there when you load those songs, which is awesome. If that doesn't impress you, try this. I can change the key of the song instantly. Now, why would you want to do that? Because there's no time to go into this here, but there's a very, very simple way with DJ software of making the key of each track you're playing match the other, which means that some of the mixing you can do goes through the roof. Some of the stuff sounds amazing instantly when you do that. So how do you change the key? It's just a little click in the software, or on more expensive controllers, there are buttons to do it. In this instance though, I'm going to go up to here where it says key or key sync, and I'm just going to use these buttons here, these little arrows, to move the key up or down. Let's have a listen to that. It's kind of the opposite of what this control does. This control will speed the track up or slow it down, and that one will change the key without it speeding up or slowing down. Mind-blowing stuff. Now, honestly, if that doesn't blow your mind, this might well do. See, I've got vocal, instrumental, bass and drums there. Let's turn off the instruments and the bass and the drums, and then play from that cue point again. Let's bring the drums back now. Let's bring the bass back in, but get rid of the vocals. In other words, I'm controlling these 4 parts: vocals, instruments, bass and drums in real time on the software. You've got a cappella for anything you need. You've got an instrumentals for anything you need, or any other mixture of those. This opens creative possibilities up hugely, because you can play with the drums from one track and the rest of the music from the other track, or you can take the bass line from a track that you've matched the key with the other track and place it underneath. Instant mashups, instantly moving past just playing one song after another. And to go right back to the very beginning of this whole series, and there was a reason we started with that, by using the sync button on modern DJ gear, you don't have to worry about keeping those tracks in time. By using the sync button to keep everything timed, by using the loops to give you the parts you want going over and over again, by using key to make things match musically so they sound really sweet, and then by manipulating what parts of the songs you can hear, the absolute creativity you've got is mind-blowing. And there's no skill involved in this, insofar as you don't need to be like a video gamer or a really great scratcher or just have dexterity to do it. You just need the ideas and a little bit of time to practice and know where the buttons are. I've just shown you 4 things there then, which hopefully will get you very excited about moving past vinyl and moving past early CD players with modern gear. And remember, we've done all of that with the free software that comes with this very, very basic modern digital DJ controller. Now, we've talked about the equipment, we've talked about the music, we've talked about how to use the gear once you've got everything set up. In the next lesson in this series for old school DJs returning to DJing, I'm going to talk to you about what it's actually like when you've made this commitment, bought this gear, got it set up at home, and you're starting to get back into it. What should you do? Is it just a pipe dream to be doing all this stuff, even though, as you can see, it's all excellent? Or is there somewhere that DJs tend to take this when they get involved? How does it feel to return to DJing? That's the subject of our next lesson. Meanwhile though, please tell me, if you are someone who's returned to DJing, what feature you like the best with digital DJing. And if you're thinking of returning, tell me what's holding you back. I'd love to know in the comments underneath. And if you've missed any of this series, then they're all linked in the description. Meanwhile though, if you want to take paid training which will help you to turbocharge your return to DJing, take a look at All Access. All Access is our flagship product that gives you everything you need, not only today and tomorrow, but for the rest of your DJing life, for your hobby, for your career, wherever you want it to take you. All Access is full of hundreds of transitions using the things we've just looked at: key, loops, syncs, hot cues, and so on. It's full of training that'll get you to use all kinds of DJ gear, not just what we're looking at here. And also training around all the areas of DJing that you might want to get involved in, everything from live streaming to making mixtapes up to playing mobile DJ gigs and performing in clubs. It's all in All Access, along with an awful lot more. You really want to take a look at it, because I'm pretty sure you'll be blown away when you see what you get. So that QR code, that link, or the link is also in the description if you want to grab it from there. Meanwhile, until next time, until the next lesson, bye for now.